Podgy, looking at this county final, let's be fair, the two best teams are in it.
Yeah, I think I thought going back with the group stage just wasn't a good idea, but I think when they seeded the top teams into the four groups, I suppose their idea all along was to get the two best teams in the final, and I think they have achieved that. And maybe Abilara were kind of touted as one of the ones that will be in contention to get to the final. But I think the general opinion would be that the best two teams are in the county final, Clonguish and Dromard.
Now, looking at this game, it has everything. It has high scoring forwards, it has backs who are in great form, so it should be a right tussle.
Yeah, I'd say with the two teams, they have the most county players. I think Clonguish have 5 county players, and I think Dromard might have 5 county players. So I suppose that speaks for itself, and it's these county players that are kind of the main players, obviously, for either side. Clonguish, then you have Paul Barden. Now, Paul Barden is a big player in this final. I mean, like centre half forward, he really is the whole Clonguish attack. Like his brother David, they're playing him in midfield, and really, if he was at full forward, then the Dromard defence would be in a lot of trouble. But there's just a little bit caught out of midfield, so they're playing David in midfield, and they have Paul on the 40, and Paul is very much a potential match winner on Sunday.
There's also match winners for Dromard, and we saw the last day the way Cathal Conifrey is playing at the back as well. So would you agree there's a bit more balance about the Dromard team?
There would be. Cathal looks after the defence and has for I don't know how many years now, whether it be full back, or even if they're moving out centre half back, which could be on the cards maybe to take up Paul Barden. But like Peter Masson did a great job the last. Now Peter can play an attack, and which he has done early in the championship on the defence. But the last day he picked up Padraic O'Brien, followed Brevy and done a great job, which then that takes the pressure off maybe the likes of Jeremy Masson, who was supposed to start at midfield and ended up in a wing forward position. Tactics came into play there. Could be the same case on Sunday, because they have Enda McIntyre too and Noel Reynolds, 2 big lads in the middle of the field. Could go with them for physical strength. Jeremy will play in this roving role, and then that leaves the path clear for the 3 wise men up front, and that's Jamesy Martin, Keane Mimna and Francis McGee, and that's a very strong forward line. These guys all play with the county, extremely skillful, great score getters, beautiful pass and diagonal moves, split open any defence. These 3 are going to be very hard stopped.
Now, they've both come into this final in very different ways, because, as you mentioned, Abilara just didn't perform against Dromard. Clonguish just about got past Ballymahan with the last kick of the game. So, really, the form goes out the window when we reach final day, doesn't it?
Oh, completely, yeah. Form goes out the window. Like, Clonguish and Dromard, I think this is the 5th time in the last 6 years they met in the championship. Last year, Dromard won by 4 points at half time in the second round of the championship proper, and Clonguish came out with all guns blazing in the second half, and I think they won by 4 or 5 points. That was a brilliant performance. Now, previous year, Dromard bet Clonguish by a point in the qualifiers to knock Clonguish out of the championship, and they met in 2 semi-finals in 2004 and 2005. So there's a lot of recent history between the clubs, and Humdinger in prospect here, because then there was a minor final in 2003 which Clonguish beat Dromard, and that was a fiery contest, to say the least. So, they know each other very well, and as I say, Clonguish might have been lucky to get to the final, but they really were the better team against Ballymahan. They had 4 or 5 goal chances in the second half. Paul Barden went through a couple of times. Fergal Kelly was brilliant in goals for Ballymahan. One of those days the Ballymahan defence were brilliant. Clonguish were very unlucky in recent championships. Last minute goals, last gasp goals done them, but this time it worked in their favour, and Joe O'Brien was the saviour, and they're in the final, and maybe it's the best way to get in the final.
So, looking at this in the round, you've written the previews, you've had this on your mind for the last number of weeks, putting out the special edition of the Leader this week. Call it, Podgy, who's going to win this on balance?
Looking at the semi-finals, you'd have to fancy Dromard. Having said that, Dromard were only leading by 3 points at half time, but they opened up in the second half. They played some brilliant football. I mean, they took their goals with aplomb. Like it was brilliant forward finishing. Dromard, they're full of confidence. I mean, they're going for their 3rd title in 5 years. Like they won it in 2005 and 2007, and they're really like Clonguish had won a championship since 2004. Like so, it's 5 years since they won the championships. Can they get back to the top? That's the question. But Dromard appear to be the better balanced team. Clonguish on the day, if everything goes right and they take their chances, they could win it. But I think Dromard are look that little bit better and probably win maybe with 2 or 3 points to spare.
All right, Paddy.